Welcome, Radiant Souls, to Ask the Oracle, a sanctuary for soul led seekers, mystics, and multi-dimensional dreamers. I'm Suzy Cherub, your host and guide, and today we enter sacred terrain with a guest whose magic is both ancient and alive. She's a Brazilian witch, a spirit worker, and the visionary behind the brand new beloved Bonestone Earthflesh Tarot, a deck born of bone, breath, and sacred ritual. Joining us from her off the grid haven in Southern Tasmania, please welcome the wild hearted and wise Avalon Cameron. Hi, Avalon. How are you, my love?
Hello, Susie. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really happy to be here and chat with you today.
Yay! I'm so looking forward to this. I've had a
Same.
really, I saw your deck and I just fell in love with it and thought, oh, wow, love it, love it. So I know today's going to be a really beautiful conversation. So, welcome to the circle. Let's begin
Thank you.
with the bones. What stirred the reawakening of your iconic deck at this moment in time?
Well, and originally I had self-published the first edition of the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, but it was a very limited print run. It was just 1,000 because this is my first time self-publishing. It was all very daunting. The process was really stressful, and I just wanted to cap it at a number that I thought would be like friendly. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea how people would respond to the deck. But as it turned out, the response was phenomenal. And I sort of started this massive thing, and I didn't really even realize what
Yeah.
I was doing. And so after it all, after the first edition went out, it started shipping through COVID, so that was really stressful as well. But everybody got their decks and their artwork, and it finalized that sort of cycle for me, and I needed a minute to pause. And I think it was about 2 years where I was completely adverse to self-publishing again. I said I'll never self-publish again. It was just such an experience. Um, my artist Anna, she received an email from Blue Angel um, asking about the Bone Stone, and then she said, "Well, it's Avalon." So she directed them to me, and I ended up having this really lovely meeting with Christian. And I've got to say, I have loved Blue Angel and their products for a very long time. I have many of their decks in my vast collection, and would never have thought that my deck would have fit Blue Angel. If I'm being entirely truthful, I just thought maybe it's a little dark, maybe it's a little too toothy or a little too fleshy. I'm not quite sure. I have a very particular aesthetic as far as my deck goes, and it's sort of like it's a very grey line. I would say it's not one way or the other. It's palatable, absolutely. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's fine art. But I was like, I'm not sure. But then when they were really excited to sort of like dig deep into that, that underbelly, that shadow side of the deck, I was thrilled. I could not say no to the opportunity. So we jumped at it. Anna and I both agreed, and she was very happy to become a Blue Angel artist. So that's how it
Oh, I love
happened.
that. I love that so much. I, like you, followed Blue Angel for many years before I was given the opportunity to be an author for Blue Angel, and they've been so supportive. And yeah, it's just been such a wonderful ride. And I'm a bit
Mm,
similar to you too, because my very first deck, I self-published right up until the point where I had it at the printers. And that's when I had the conversation with Blue Angels. So mine didn't quite kind of get out into the world, so to speak. But the actual deck itself is almost identical to the one that I self-published. They did change the cover, but
so
oh, how
pretty.
interesting that we've had a similar journey as well. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, so
it
cool.
was great.
Yay. So, what ancestral memory or moment first awakened your path as a witch?
Oh, I'm hereditary. So I was
Yes,
baptized into voodoo as a baby. It's always been in my sphere of consciousness. It's always been
yes,
around me. And because I was in Brazil and my mother is of lineage, my grandmother is of lineage, my great grandmother is of lineage, and my great great grandmother established the terreiro that we all belong to. So we have a very long lineage as far as I know, and it's just always been in my life. I can't separate my upbringing. I can't separate just my interest in literature. It's infused in absolutely everything that I do, including my outlook it in towards the world and in my own life. I really look at everything through this deeply spiritual, very witchy lens. And I actually find it quite challenging to talk to people that have no foot in this magical world at all. I don't think I have very much to say to people that don't sort
I'm
of
a bit the same
exist.
way.
And
Yeah.
that's not me not wanting to talk to them. I was like, what do people talk about if they're not talking about this incredible world of magic, this synergy, the energy, the connection, the cool crystal that you've just purchased, or the epic like botanical find that you just made. If you can't
Yes.
talk about any of these things, what can you talk about?
Oh, absolutely. You're
So,
speaking my language 100%. I'm totally the same way. I'm not into small talk. I
mm,
can kind of straddle both worlds, but I much prefer to be in that beautiful kind of, nature-based, beautiful spiritual space. It
mm,
just sings to my soul. I just love that so much. And so
yep.
how does your gorgeous, like, I love that you've got this really long, incredible ancestral lineage of these amazing women. It's just
Mm,
amazing. So how does, your Brazilian lineage shape your magical practice today? Obviously it does. Yeah, it's obviously just who
mm.
you are and what you do. Yeah.
Yes, well, I have representation on my reading space/altar. So I have Anna, actually my artist, Anna Turian. People don't know this, but she's actually an incredible sculptor. So she
Is she
made me
really?
my Emanja. It's very heavy, and I'm being very delicate with her. But she made me my Emanja. I've also got an enchanting. And as far as my everyday daily practice, I have candles lit. Most days, I'm a continuous living candle burner, so I stock up big on
Yeah.
candles. And I don't know, I've got about 9 candles going at this moment in time.
So
But
beautiful. I
mostly
love it.
for my beautiful pombagira, for my eshu, and then when I sit down to do readings for my clients, or even just to do videos for my patrons and things like that, I will activate my altar and I will call in my Yoruba language, my Odisha, and that's how every day sort of I connect with them. And it's a beautiful thing. I think when you have ancestry in particular parts of the world, really culturally deep, then you have access to them all the time anyway. You wake up in the morning and you greet your ancestors, you go to sleep and you say goodnight to your ancestors, and you're already doing beautiful magic.
I'm absolutely fascinated with our cultural lineages and how they impact on our own spiritual pathways. And we spoke briefly
Mm.
before we hopped on the podcast in regards to, I have that sort of strong Portuguese heritage on one side with my dad, who's in spirit, and on the other side, very Celtic, very British with mum. And it definitely influences, yeah, it influences your spirituality, doesn't it? Like it's just a part of
Oh,
who we are and what we do. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I have split cultural lineage because my father's of Scottish heritage, and I I didn't have as much exposure to the Scottish heritage as I did to my Brazilian heritage. And when I first came back, I was a teenager and I came back to Australia. I interacted with my grandparents. They were still alive at the time. They've since passed on, but I interacted with my grandparents in such an intimate capacity. They were kind of constantly coddling me because I was the only daughter to return from Brazil to live with my father here in Australia. And I it was at that time I would have been all of about 15 years old that I realized the capacity for a Scottish woman to hold a grudge like for hundreds of years. And I discovered this in a very simple, very mundane, very innocent way. I was shopping for food. She was insisting that when my dad was on night shift, I shouldn't have to cook for myself. So I should get these little ready-made kinds of things. And I love soup, so I went to grab a can of Campbell's soup, and she lost her mind and gave me a history lesson in the supermarket. I was like, and I know now, and I understand now. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish I had more time to have had explored that particular avenue. They were very name proud. They had their tartan and their clan badge and their and all of the trimmings, if you will. But equally fascinating, but less explored. So.
I understand. Absolutely. So what does it really mean to be a hereditary witch in a modern context? Because yeah, that sort of you seem to do that so seamlessly. How does that work for you?
Mm. I don't think, I want to be honest, I don't think it has too much relevance
Yes,
in the modern context.
right.
Everything is about quick, aesthetic, and perceivable and
Oh, good
accessible. And
answer. Yeah.
um, when we're talking about lineage magic, blood heritage, cultural heritage, these are very
Yeah.
deep, deep wells. These are sacred circles and sovereign ties that we're experiencing. And it has no place in the modern context, which is why I have a private community in which people are interested in that. And then
Yes.
I can just speak my truth very
Love it.
authentically in these spaces and
Yeah.
not concern myself with like feeding the masses or trying to prepare something that is quite profoundly sacred and try to deliver it in this kind of modern format. We don't intersect very well. That's
Fabulous
about.
answer. I love that so much. Honest, but creating that beautiful, safe, sacred space where you can, really express your beautiful magic in such a, an open-hearted, amazing way. Great answer. I love it. Yeah, so
Thank
good.
you.
So I'm really super curious too. What was the original soul seed of the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot? Like, what was that initial kind of insight or download or whatever you want to call it? What was that
Mm.
for you? Yeah.
Well, at the time I was living in Cairns and I had just had my daughter and I was expecting my son. And I was sitting there with a bunch of witches and we were studying the Guersas because at one point I decided that I was going to explore the path of Druidry in an attempt to connect with that Celtic
Other
ancestry of
side.
my father's side, my lineage
Yeah.
side. So I got in touch with the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids and I started studying their bardic grade. Which was perfect. It was the perfect sort of sample primer. I'm an avid reader. This was mythology. This was story. This
I love
was,
mythology.
song lines and sacred
Yes.
Guersas and things like that. So at the time, I was flipping through. We would meet once a week and we would go through our glasses and we would read and read and read and then sort of highlight and point out anything that we might like to discuss with one another, kind of like a little druidic bardic study group, if you will. And I came
Yeah.
across this line and it was Bonestone and Earthflesh and it hit me in my literal chest. I went, oh, and I said, without even thinking, I said, if I ever create a tarot deck, it's going to be called the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot. And I just got this great sort of welcome to that. And between the time that that happened and the time that the Bone Stone took place would have been about 5 years. And when I finally started on the Bone Stone, it had no name because I didn't remember it. And then my beautiful witch friends went, you have a name for your deck already, don't you remember?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I had to sort of sit there with this, oh, could I? Could I actually? Is it too ghastly? Like I had I don't know, I think the name
I
triggered
think your
me in such a
timing,
way.
I don't know what it is, but I think the timing and
Mm,
and the name is, well, it's certainly, hit my heart, triggered, there was something I felt that, yeah, it, as soon as I saw Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, something hit me in the heart. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a reactive sort of a name. It's kind of like a very triggering title. And at the very beginning of my publishing journey with Blue Angel, they had the idea that they might want to adjust the title, and I was open to it because I thought in my head, the Bonestone has already been. This would be the second iteration of it, and it should feel a little bit different. So I had no emotional connection to the name after the release of the first edition, but they decided to capitalize on the hype of the name itself, which I was really surprised about, but absolutely thrilled and delighted because I
Yes.
think the fans of the deck, and there are many fans of the deck, they were constantly nagging in the kindest, most beautiful way. What's changing? What's going to change? What can we expect to see? And if I
Yeah.
had said the name is going to change, they probably would have been all right with it. But since the name didn't change, I think it's landed better because it is a piece of the original Bonestone now. And people that missed out, I only did 1,000 deck print run the first time, and so many people wanted access to it, but I only did 1,000. So now all of those people that couldn't access the first edition now have the opportunity to get the second edition. And it's so beautiful, and it's been altered in the most amazing way. They've done an incredible job. I'm really thrilled with it. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I noticed that you've got, quite a presence on YouTube as well. So how did the live creation process on YouTube shape the deck spirit type?
Oh, that was iconic, actually. That's the
Yes.
perfect word for it. It was iconic. Again, I am not a marketing mastermind. I did this
Yeah.
on pure accident. This was all accidental. I cannot take credit. I can't say, "Oh, I designed this. This went perfectly as to my design." No, I decided Anna and I were both on YouTube at the same time. We had intersected. We knew each other, and we are like, let's do some live sessions. Very quickly, they became known as Bonestone Bashes, and within one
Oh,
live,
yeah.
we could have been streaming for like 3 to 4 hours. Like these were long, long sessions. 2 hours here, 3 hours there. Anna and I were in each other's faces so often, and the live streams just garnered so much attention. There were times where we would have 300 people just commenting, and because it was a very community-led project, I
Yes.
would be designing, I would say to Anna, I would like her to stand this way and tilt this way, and I want flowing red hair. And Anna loves to do really flowing, beautiful hair. So she's like, "Oh, how about we adjust the angle like this?" And then we would sit there with the details going, "I think she needs a flower. What sort of flower?" And the chat stream would erupt. "Put this flower, put this flower." And so often we would
Oh,
pinch and pull ideas from the community
so
and go,
they
"That's a
kind of
great
went
idea. That's a
along.
great idea."
Wow. So they kind of really contributed to that
They
creative
did.
journey,
They
that
they
creative
added the flavor.
collaboration.
They
Like
did.
that's
And
true co-creation.
that's why it became such an impressive kind of project. It was by pure accident. I love to collaborate. I absolutely love it. I think I do some of my best work
Yes.
in a collaboration, quite frankly, because
Yes, same here.
being a solo creator is very lonely. I'm gonna
Yes.
cough. Sorry.
That's all right.
Excuse me.
Yeah, like I totally agree. I love collaborating. I love that intuitive, creative process. I think it makes it richer. You can bounce off each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, especially when you have that really telepathic connection with your artist as well. And it's
Oh,
that
yeah.
true co-creation of like, these are the words. This is what I'm visualizing. And she's going, oh my goodness, you're right. I'm saying, yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah, Anna bought it just as much as I did. She had this talent for reading my mind. I'm so impressed with her. I'm infinitely impressed with her. She's an incredible, incredible professional. She's an artist, and she's a beautiful friend of mine. And just the fact that we could just make this, like she just sort of saw
Yeah.
all the little bits and pieces. And you know, we're doing the oracle deck for the Bonestone now, and it's just, it feels so nostalgic to be in this
Beautiful.
collaborative space. So
Yes.
it's such a lovely experience, honestly. And I always believe that, you know, competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens on top. And I think
Yes.
people can do their best work when they're collaborating within the context of their strengths. So I'm a writer,
Yes.
she's an artist, we
That's right.
collaborated.
So
Mm.
beautiful. You know, the art is sacred. It's stunning. The words are
Mm.
magic. So congratulations, my love. That's so
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. I
So
appreciate that.
beautiful. What's evolved in this kind of reawakening? So you mentioned an oracle deck as
Hmm.
a spin-off, not a spin-off, but you know, as a beautiful kind of, I don't know, segue. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was requested. The community really came during the Bonestone Bashes back in the day, going, I think you guys should do an oracle
Great
deck.
name.
So we were already talking about an oracle deck during the creation of the tarot deck, but then after the experience that I had shipping and printing and all of that, it was a good enough experience. It was just such a stressful and trying experience at the same
I
same
know, because
time.
when you know, like, you know, you're writing the manuscript, you're having to worry about the design, the construction of the deck, you know, where are you going to get it printed? How's it all going to work?
Hmm.
You know, and the toing and the froing. I was dealing with some beautiful girl in China who was we were trying to work out, you know, whatever, you know, and I was you know, I was so particular about things. Oh, I totally get it. And then, of course, you've got to distribute it as well. So
Yeah.
then there's the distribution. Like,
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was just it was an incredibly challenging time because during the process, I moved from Cairns to Tasmania, and I live in a tiny home. So to have the decks shipped to me wasn't an option. I needed something else. So in the end, we made it work. We sorted it out. Everybody got their decks, and I was left with that feeling of I will never self-publish again.
But do you know what I love, though? I love that you were doing it regardless. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? You know,
yeah.
some people do that thing where they go, oh, I really want to create an oracle deck or a tarot deck or a book or you know, a piece of music or whatever it might be. But you know, they're waiting for the elusive publishing deal, you know, before they go any further. You were
Mm.
birthing this beautiful deck regardless, right?
Yes, it was
It was
always,
happening anyway, right?
it really, really was.
Yeah.
And it was such a visceral, honestly, it was like this incredible dance with the muse kind of experience because
Yes.
I had Anna reach out to me. I put a little video out on YouTube saying I'm looking for artists to collaborate on a tarot deck. And Anna reached out and she said, "Hey, I noticed that you're looking for artists to collaborate. Why don't you ask them to like show them your art? Like pick a card and get them to do a rendition of that card
Oh,
and see
clever.
which one you like the most so that you could at least see their work and how they've gone about it." And of all the people that quote unquote auditioned, if you could call it that, Anna's was just by far the most impactful. It was the Hierophant card at the time that I offered. It's one of the most complex, I feel, cards. And I had a very specific image for the Hierophant as as I have qualms with the card. So I decided to get her to do this, and I was very specific. I said, I want it to be earthy. I want her to be of the earth. I want her to have good, strong grandmother energy. I want
Oh,
her to look
beautiful.
a little tribal because I want her wisdom to be earth wisdom. I want it to
Beautiful.
come through the tree roots and I want it to come through the moss. I wanted this like incredibly like primeval experience. And she bought me the Hierophant. Ironically, though, the Hierophant image that she presented me with is not the final image that went in the deck. It looks very similar, but it changed quite a bit. And in some ways it's even better. So it's the first card that was ever created. We didn't create anything in order. That was the exciting part. I have ADHD, so I have to go where the dopamine is, and whatever I'm
Yes, yes.
excited about,
Yep,
I have
yep.
to do it that way. And in the end, it proved really, really helpful to sort of do it in spits and spats, that kind of staccato style.
Yes, yes. I love it. Well, the synergy is magnificent. So
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
really curious, if the deck had a voice, what would it whisper to the global community right now, do you think?
That's a difficult one. I think it would ask that people pay closer attention and be more mindful of who they are, where they are, what they're feeling, and the people that are around them. I think the deck is about understanding the roots of things. And so
Yes.
to cherish your roots is really important. And I think this is probably more important in sort of westernized cultures and societies whereby the concept of ancestor is a lost concept. Very few people that aren't culturally influenced, let me say that do not come from a culture which models this, they have no place for the ancestors. And it's an ancestral deck. It really is it's a deck of stories. It's a deck of heritage, of history. It's
Yes.
cross-cultural. And so it should appeal to such a broad audience, really. Not because that was the intention, but because I had a cross-cultural upbringing.
Yes.
And that's how it had to be for me. I had to put that experience into the deck. And so I think the message really would be connect with your roots and pay close attention, cherish each other, cherish what you can see and feel, and just like assume that energy of custodianship over the places that are somehow belonging to you. That's probably the way that I would put it. Not very eloquent, but
It was eloquent, and blessed be beautiful. That was a lovely answer. I loved that.
oh,
Now, I
thank
know
you.
that you're living off, I know that you're living off the grid in Tasmania.
Mhm.
So, how does this deepen your connection to spirit and the land? Yeah.
I'm an animist, so I believe that everything has a spirit. So
Yes,
I
same here. Yeah.
I look after this land. I mow. It's very big. It's 28 acres. And so I have 5 to 6 acres of cleared land in which I have to care for. So I have to go out there and I have to cut the lawn and I have to weed the gardens and I grow my own food. And
Yes.
like I do so much, and a lot of my life exists outside of my home, which unless you're a traveler, you don't really have that experience. People will leave their homes in the morning and come home to their homes in the evening because that's the way that, society works. You go to work, you come home. You go to school, you come home. Everything is about coming home. I have an outdoor bathroom, so I'm constantly outside. I'm constantly walking outside, and you can't walk outside without just taking a little stroll to the end of the pavement and looking up at the moon or looking at what the sky is doing. My children have this, Mom, have you seen the sky? Because they're constantly outside. Or,
Yeah.
Mom, have you seen the moon? Because they're
Yeah. I love
constantly
that.
outside.
Oh, good on
And
you.
because we
That's
live in
so good.
Tasmania and the sun doesn't, in summer, the sun sets at around 9:30, like it's still quite dusk and golden, cool
Yeah.
towards the 2 o'clock mark, they can spend time outside in nature, just swinging on the swings and running around the yard, and they love it. They love it. And I think that that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's something I've always wanted. I've always wanted to live in a tiny home. Oh, actually, truthfully, I wanted to live in a yurt. I wanted a yurt. I
Yeah.
was so obsessed with it that the
Yeah.
10 of Pentacles in my deck is a yurt. So the yurt made it into mine.
Yeah.
But I
That's
ended
so
up in
great.
this beautiful, like, little pocket of this tiny little town. There's like maybe 1,500 people that live here.
Right.
Everybody knows everyone. It feels very Stars Hollow for people that like Gilmore Girls. I know my butcher, I know my grocer, I know my
Yes.
post office lady. I know
Beautiful.
my chemist. Everybody sort of knows each other. You get used to seeing each other's faces, and it's the community experience that I've always wanted growing up, and now I can offer that to my children. So,
Your children would be having or are having the most magical childhood, and to, have that very grounded, freestyle kind of, connecting to the earth, and really appreciating that. I know, I've got three beautiful grandsons, and, they do that similar thing where they, Noah might say, "Oh my goodness, Shushu, look at the pink, pink sky, or look at the beautiful moon," or it's just
mm,
it's natural, yeah, it's just magical, and I loved your answer. So beautiful.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know you walk your talk, my love. So what does spirit work look like in your daily rhythm? I know you said that you light a lot of candles, then you create sacred space, and your desk is that beautiful altar, and
Mm.
yeah. So, what does that look like for you?
I guess every day I like to give a nod to my ancestors. They're a big part of my spiritual practice. But as far as spirit work goes, spirit talks to me through all avenues. It sort of sits compass style, like right in the chest. And whenever I feel this, I have this unique, I wouldn't exactly call it anxiety or anxiousness per se. It's this heightened kind of nervous static nervous energy, and it always happens, and at around the same time as the wind lifts, like we have the roaring 40s down here in Tassie,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we do here too.
lots of
Sometimes the gum
windy
trees are like,
days. Oh yeah, lots of windy days, like
yeah.
so many windy days. And that's all you see on Facebook, people complaining about how the wind is annoying. I love it. I'm like, be as you are, be as you are.
Yeah, it blows the
And
cobwebs
whenever
away. Yeah.
exactly. But in that space, I feel the call to magic. So whenever this particular feeling, it's my ancestors. They're literally pushing me to magic. And this was 2 days ago. And for 2 days, I did banishings for the dark moon, and then I welcomed in the new moon. And now it's day 2 of the new moon. It's the day of Venus, and we're having this nice conversation
Yes,
about
perfect.
magical, beautiful things.
I
And
love that you love
this
that.
is very spirit led. This feels very spirit led to me. I honor
Yes,
my
yes.
spirits in all that I do,
Yeah.
and I simply listen. I guess that's the biggest thing. I
Yes.
listen and I pay attention. I don't believe
Yes.
in coincidence. I believe in synchronicity. And
Yes.
I'm not ridiculous about it. I'm very grounded. I'm very rooted. I'm actually a very logical and literal person.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I experience synchronicity or coincidence, as the muggles like to say,
Yeah.
I I immediately stop and pay attention. I'm like, oh, there's something here. There's something
Yeah,
here. So
yeah.
then I like to check in with my guides at that time and go, what's this about? Like, what are we
Yeah,
getting ready
yeah.
for? Do I
Yes.
leave the house? I'm very much a
What's
hermit.
going
I
on
like
here?
my own space.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. I really
I
just
love
listen.
it.
I listen, I give them the
Listening. Oh,
respect that they
powerful.
deserve.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know you do this kind of really beautiful balancing acts. So how do you balance kind of like motherhood and magic and your creative devotion as well? How do you kind of balance all of that, do you think?
Well, I involve my children in it. They get to hear the news first. They get to see the reveals first. They get to hear the first chapters, the blog posts. They get to see it. They don't care. Well, they do, but my eldest daughter is 15 now. She doesn't care. She cares, but she doesn't care.
Okay.
And so I like to really like mess with her nervous system a little bit. And going up, I have a very long driveway. It's about a kilometer long. It's very bumpy. It's a bush driveway. So on one side, we have these beautiful broom plants flowering right now because we're in spring. And on the other side, we have like a hedge of kind of hawthorn. And I go up as slowly as my car will allow. And I speak to her and I'm like, do you know that these are broom? Do you know that this is hawthorn? Do you know what these mean? And she's like, I don't care. And I'm like, oh. So I stop and I wind down, I'm like, touch the tree. Touch, you'll feel better. Touch the tree. And she's like, are you serious? And I'm like, I'm deadly serious. Touch the tree. And she's like, no. And I'm like, touch it or we're not moving from this spot until you touch the tree. And
Yes.
so by the time she's done, and I'm like, you should just respectfully take a little flower and let it work on you because you need it. And she's just like, oh my God, mum. So, but this is the same girl that went to rituals. I have photos of her as like a
Yes.
2 or 3 year old, covered in paint, feathers in her hair, just the
Yeah.
little wild witchling. And then very recently I got her to put a teacher in the freezer. So, we have these like we meet in the middle somewhere. But my youngest
Yes.
two, they are all for it.
Yes.
My daughter, my youngest daughter, she's 10 years old. She doesn't feel comfortable in any home that doesn't have an altar in the center of the dining table because
Yes.
I have a small space. So she's used to seeing mummy's altar in the center of the dining table, just like a little strip,
Yes.
a little runner. And she
Yeah.
doesn't feel safe. She's like, that's very protective.
Yes.
I don't feel safe here because it doesn't have your magic, mummy. It doesn't have your magic. And
Yes.
my son is very into wearing stones on his person, and he understands exactly what those stones emit, if you will, like the essence
Yes.
of those stones. So he's
Yes.
educated enough to go, I need my tiger's eye today. He's 12. He's like, I need my
Yeah, yeah,
tiger's
yeah.
eye.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. That is so good. That is so
Yeah, so
good.
they integrate really well. And they also
Yeah.
understand that because I'm a creative person, I have
Yeah.
that sort of artist temperament, not in a terrible way, but I'm like, don't interrupt me, I'm writing.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
do
right.
that.
Yeah.
And they don't ever take offense to it because I will always say, I apologize if I was a bit stern. Let's do something fun. Let's go out. Let's go and do this and that. But they're very used to seeing me.
Busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know you do a lot of tarot readings, is that right? Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful tarot. Yeah. Um, so what does ritualistic precision mean in your tarot readings? Do you incorporate a lot of magic with your tarot readings? How does that work?
Oh, I do. I do. I like anyone who has a tarot reading with me will have the experience of witchcraft. They just will. There's
Beautiful.
no divorcing the experience. I have
Yes.
everything from Peruvian owl rattles to little bells. I always anoint my hands with rose water because of the mother. I'll spray with various sprays. I'll anoint with various oils.
Yes.
I just the setup, like there's no separation really. I feel very sorry for people, mostly because they want a reading and I'm going to give them the experience. So
Yeah. Yes. I mean, to me, it would enrich the experience. And yeah, yeah. I love that you do that. That's so beautiful.
Hmm.
So, how do you kind of energetically prepare yourself before reading for others? Do you do anything? Like I know I've got, I'm with you. I've got all my candles. At the moment, I've got, white gardenia from my
Oh,
garden. I've
nice.
got my rosary beads from Fatima in Portugal.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
yeah, you name it. And it changes. It changes as the seasons
Yeah, it has
change,
to.
as
I think it
the,
has
you
to.
know, yeah, yeah, yeah. So curious as to how do you energetically prepare, Avalon?
Well, I like to sort of sit and have like at least a 5 minute meditation. I have to check in with myself before I start.
Yeah.
I can't read tarot every single day because the muse will not allow me to do so. I want to. I have the best of intentions, I assure you. But I might start the day thinking, I'm going to do tarot readings all day on Monday. And then Monday turns around and go, oh no, Monday is a rubbish day. The vibes are not right for Monday. The
Yeah.
moon might not be right. There might be a retrograde. And there's a couple at the moment. And so I can't with any good conscience go, oh, I'll push through that. I don't want to push through to do a tarot reading.
No.
I want to be good. I want to be ready. And so there are days that I plan in advance. I check the weather app, I check the moon, I check the constellations, I check my astrologer, and I'm like, this is the day. And I wake up and the intention has been set for days, and I will sit in quiet meditation for about 5 minutes. I will anoint myself, I will check
Yes.
in with my guides, I will hydrate, and I will simply like wake the space up. I have to wake it up first.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
then whenever I'm doing a reading, I wake it up again. I wake it up so that the client can see that I'm taking the necessary steps to create sacred space specifically for this reading. And
Yes.
it always happens that way. It always happens. Every time I do a reading, they will actively see what I do to prepare. They just don't know that I've been preparing beforehand as well.
Prior as
A
well.
great
Yeah.
amount of energy goes into that preparation. I have to go outside. I have to like breathe in the fresh air. I have to see uh, there's a lot of different birds here. And
Yeah.
I love a bird omen. I really do. We
Yeah.
have
Same
goshawk,
here.
we have eagle, we have
Yeah.
owl, we have forest raven, black cockatoo, fairy wren, and red robin. So these are the ones that I see the most. And so at any point in time, if I step outside and I don't hear the nature the way that it's supposed to be, I'm
Yes.
like,
The
it's
bird
not a good
song.
day.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. But if
Oh,
I
I
go
totally
outside
agree.
and everything is talking and everything is alive and beautiful and the sun is kind of shining and which is rare in Tasmania, but the sun does shine, I assure you. The sun might be shining
It
or
does
peeking
actually
through the
shine
clouds.
there. Yeah.
And I just know it's going to be an excellent day. So even if I didn't have the intention to do readings on that day, I'll be like, I'm doing readings. I'll change my whole schedule just because I feel the vibe is right for it. So I'm
Yeah.
very
Beautiful.
intuitive with the way that I do it. I wish I wasn't. I wish I was more like, let's just do the readings on it
Today's the
a
day
little
I
bit
do it.
today.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I have to work with the spirit of things.
So beautiful. I love that you awaken your space and you show, you do that beautiful kind of yeah, you kind of setting up space. It's really beautiful. So
Mm.
yay. What guidance would you offer to readers seeking deeper intimacy, a stronger connection with their decks? Yeah. What
Mm.
would you suggest they do?
Uh, there is there is no space for being hurried when it comes to anything esoteric, really. My deck in particular it's honestly it's no exception. If you step to a tool like the tarot, any tarot, respect must be paid. This this system, this cartomancy system, has been around for a very long time. It has its
Yes.
ancestors.
Yeah.
Respect must be paid. Being
Yes.
hurried hands have no business here. Nervous hands have no business here. You need to quieten yourself and ground and center and really connect with the cards. It takes time to develop connections with decks. I get I have publishers send me out beautiful copies of their decks for review, and I always say the same thing. I can't do a review on a deck that I haven't spent at least 6 months with.
Yeah.
I just don't, I wouldn't feel comfortable, but I do unboxings and thoughtful commentary. That's what I do. But when it comes to actually learning a deck, I'm learning one right now. I bought it for my birthday, which was in May. We're in November. I would not read with this deck for a client with the way that I feel about it now. It requires time.
Yeah.
And I think time is about journaling. It's about intuitively connecting with the cards before you even look at the guidebook and seeing how that imagery moves through the individual. it's a very personal and individual experience, and then you write that down in your journal, and then you cross-reference it with the guidebook, and you start to create a framework. How close were you? How close was your intuition? Adjust where you need to. Don't feel bad if you were off topic completely. This is a learning process. It's an educational process, and it's an unraveling of spirit, I think.
Yeah.
And so patience and diligence. I think everything is so rushed now. Attention spans are so shortened, and I feel the tarot is poorly misrepresented in this particular
Yeah.
light. I think it demands more respect, more attention, and care and consideration, and deep understanding of the esoteric principles of each of the cards. That's the type of reader I am. I have done my research. I have read the books. I have
Yes.
spent time with the cards. I have spent years studying this. My grandmother was a tarot reader. My mother was a tarot reader. Granted, they were Marseille. I'm Rider-Waite-Smith. So still, it was in my life. And I feel like the more time, the more dedication you have to a deck, and understanding that deck and getting to know that deck and working with that deck consistently, the more the imagery bleeds into your soul in a way. And you can really start to experience the language of a deck once it has penetrated that subconscious layer, and you start to have dreams about it, or you might be driving and you have a thought about it. It's
Yeah.
in there. It's already inside of you.
Yeah.
That's the magic. I think that's when you know you're connected to a deck, is when it moves through you in a way. That would be.
That was a brilliant answer. So deep. And so, yes, I think, you know, deepening the intimacy and the relationship with any deck, and allowing it to kind of really infuse. And yeah, I loved that, the slowing down, like everyone's in such a hurry. Like, I think it's just, you know, um, surrender and allow yourself that the time to deepen the connection. And yeah, great answer. Love it. Love it.
Thank
So,
you.
what's currently lighting up your creative or spiritual path at the moment? Anything you're working
Magic, always.
on? Magic. Yeah.
I'm very magical right now. I have been for the
Yeah.
last 3 months, like very magical. It's absurd. And I'm annoying all of my friends. But I've been writing a lot because
Yes.
I'm working on 3 books right now,
Beautiful.
and so that amongst my work, my tarot readings, my clients, and doing videos for
Yes.
YouTube and for Patreon, and it's constantly creative. So I'm constantly in this creative sphere. So that's really what propels me. The more creative I am, the more magic I seem to access. And I think creativity and magic, creativity is fire, and fire is the other element. Earth, air, water are constantly here on our earthly planes at all time. Fire must be called into being. So we've got this incredible manifestation uh, kind of symbol in this cardinal element. And so when you're creative, when you can access that creativity in whatever capacity that makes sense to you, you can be creative as a mathematician, you can be creative as a chef, you can just be creative no matter where you are. If you can
Yeah.
access that, it sparks something greater inside of you. It's enthusiasm, it's excitement, and it propels you on. It sort of releases endorphins and dopamine, and
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. So the more creative I am, the more I tend to witchcraft. So,
Yeah,
heck,
absolutely. Um, so if you could offer one spell or one prayer or a blessing to our listeners, what would it be?
a road opener. It would
Right.
absolutely be the road opener.
Yeah.
We like to joke, occultists like to joke that it's the only spell you'll ever need. But I will say this, and with an open heart, you should never use salt in a road opener. There is a trend going on right now of salt and a drawn cross. Do it with dirt. You can do that same arrangement with dirt, but a road opener is great as a fixed candle, as an anointed ritual bath or as a devotional experience at the crossroads. They're your three options for a road opener. There's no sort of fast way of creating a beautiful road opener, but it's the best because it kind of opens up those roads, it opens up those possibilities, it kind of
Yes.
clears away any kind of stagnancy and any debris.
Yes.
And if you're feeling a little sticky or a little stuck or a little uninspired or just a little, then a road opener is a great refreshing experience. But be mindful because there is a herb called the abricamino. The abricamino herb, which is the road opener herb, is the essential ingredient in a road opener. And so you can't get around it. So find the abricamino, the road opener herb, or an
Beautiful.
oil and work with it that
Oh,
way in
thank
a
you for
really
sharing that.
pure. Mm,
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
my pleasure.
Beautiful. One of my guides is I absolutely love Hecate, Queen of the Crossroads. So
Oh,
she,
yeah,
she comes
liminal
through.
spaces.
It's so funny because I've got quite a few decks, and it's like she comes through for every deck, and I'm going, she just shows up.
Mm.
Even if I go, no, I don't think it's going to fit this deck, Hecate, and she's in absolutely every deck.
Oh
Anyway,
my gosh.
I know. I'd love for you to pull a card from your magical, magnificent new deck for the collective. So, would you like to
Say
do that
less.
for us? Yeah.
Absolutely. Any excuse. Any excuse. I've got to say, since you just mentioned Hecate, are you familiar with the Wendy Rule song?
Wendy Rule's a friend of mine.
Is she?
Yes. Yeah. I've known her
Very
for years.
nice.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
song came into my sphere of consciousness in the 90s. So
I
I've been around
love
for a
that
minute.
song.
It is so powerful, and I'm shocked at the amount of people. I assumed as an Australian you would absolutely have heard it, but I am absolutely shocked at the amount of Hecate devotees that don't know this song because it's
I
very.
love that song. I love it. Yeah, it's beautiful. I've been to quite a few of her live gigs, and many years ago, I used to run a psychic fair called Spirit Fest, and she came and performed at one of those for me. And now, of course, she's living in the States. So yeah, I love that song. Oh, yeah, it just stirs something in you, like it's just so magical. And
It
her her
is. It's
her
got it.
singing is like spells, and it's
It
just beautiful.
is.
Love
It
it. Yeah,
is.
her sing, yeah.
All right. Eight of Pentacles. Okay. Here's what I will say about the Eight of Pentacles. It is a card of quiet mastery. This is a card of refinement and repetition, a card in which it's a call to sit and be and practice and refine and practice. It's the card that will repeat the same task over and over and over again until you have it perfectly done, until it feels like an extension of yourself. It feels second nature. You have this muscle memory come into
Yeah,
being. This is the invitation from this beautiful card. It's an invitation to deepen your connection to whatever task feels precious to you at this time or is asked of you at this time. This, whether you are called to the work or not, this is the this is the path of satisfaction for the work that is being done. And and I say the path of satisfaction because you will satisfy whomever this work is for. And so this is really about deeper connection. If you are doing something that you absolutely love and adore, then this is a summons to deepen that experience, to really dig deep and to access that state of flow, that state of Arwen, that that current of inspiration, that synergy, that alchemistic kind of energy in that in the magical work that you are doing, in that quiet, deliberate repetition, in that slow, steady work. This is where mastery is found, and this is where a master shapes his or her work. So there you have it.
oh, amazing. I loved it. I love it.
Thank
So
you.
I'd like to pull a card for you and for the collective
Oh,
from my Moon Temple Oracle deck. And I love this deck. And I've also got, there's a beautiful Brazilian lunar goddess by the name of Jacira. And she's come through for you and for the global community today. And it's the beautiful new moon. It's the birth card. She's absolutely beautiful. She's standing, she's standing in
oh,
the river or
gorgeous.
the ocean. She's standing in water. You've got the beautiful new moon in the background. It's just a really beautiful card. And it's all about feeling it in your waters. You know, the miracle of life is growing inside of you. This may be the birth of a child, sacred assignment, creative project, or some
Mm,
kind of really beautiful, fertile beginning. And it's
mm,
hold your precious baby tight. Cherish your unborn baby, soulful offerings, or your precious inner child. Cultivate seeds of new life with tender, loving care all the way through to fruition, all the way through. So,
oh,
yeah, and the
beautiful.
affirmation is I surrender to my infinite creative flow. So, you can't make this up. I think those two cards
Oh,
kind of
beautiful.
come together really beautifully. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a very strong call to action there.
Yeah, I
Beautiful.
love it.
Absolutely beautiful. Awesome. Beautiful
Awesome.
imagery.
What a wonderful, wonderful podcast interview. I'm
Oh,
so grateful to you. It was
thank you.
informative. It was, it was very deep and some really, really beautiful take homes there. And I just want to really thank you
Thank you.
for coming on today.
Oh, thank
So,
you for inviting me on and
so fun.
for giving me the space to talk about my beautiful baby, my beautiful
Your
deck.
beautiful baby. So thank you for
Yes.
weaving your ancestral threads, your tarot artistry, and your wild wisdom into this sacred space. Your voice is a lantern for the seekers, and your work reminds us that magic lives in the marrow. So, to our listeners, may this conversation stir your soul, awaken your knowing, and guide you gently home to your own sacred rhythm. Until next
Mm.
time, keep asking the oracle and keep listening, as Avalon said, keep listening to the whispers of your wild self. Bye for now.